John. Welcome to Between the Lines, where we try and dig into what's said, what's heard, and what the truth is. I'm Steve Lombardo, CEO of Ed Faro, and your host. And today I have with me John Mulcahy. John serves as Vice President of Stewardship for Georgia Pacific. Georgia Pacific is a worldwide leader in paper and packaging and building products. So John, welcome, and thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So John, let's start with your title. You're Vice President of Stewardship. What does that mean?
So stewardship is the concept of responsibly managing the resources that are entrusted to our care. And one way that we distinguish that from sustainability is the way we've defined it. It includes not only our management of resources, but it also our management of relationships. So we want to be good stewards of the relationships that we have with our employees, with our communities, with our suppliers, in addition to the resources that we produce our products out of, which would be the timber, the water, the chemicals, and the energy. So in our view, stewardship is a little bit more all-encompassing. People think about sustainability, it's a little bit of do no harm. Stewardship is taken care of, and I think it's a little bit broader.
What distinguishes it, besides the fact it's less about do no harm? Give me a couple of examples of how at Georgia Pacific you use stewardship that you think really differentiates it from sustainability.
One way in which I like to talk about it is that we try to link stewardship with the reason that we are in business in the first place. A lot of times sustainability is kind of just looking at the resource use in and of itself. We want to tie what we do with what we refer to as the role of business in society. At Georgia Pacific, we believe that the role of business in society is to produce products and services that help people to improve their lives. And so as a forest products company that makes building materials and absorbent hygiene products and towel and tissue, our products contribute to shelter, they contribute to hygiene, they contribute to the protection of goods in transit, they contribute to the convenient delivery of food. All of those things make society better. But in order to do that, you have got to extract raw materials from the natural environment. You need to use energy in order to create those products. And so what we try to do is link the environmental impacts that our processes have with the societal benefits that our products provide.
Interesting. Energy conservation, is that part of it?
Yes, and so we do want to recognize that the conversion of those raw materials into our products does take energy, but we want to be as efficient as possible with that energy use. It is a cost driver for us, or it is a price driver for our consumers. But in order to convert a pine tree into a 2x4 or a pine tree into a roll of toilet paper, there's a lot of energy that's required to do it. And it's our job as responsible stewards of the energy that we use to do that efficiently. And so as you improve your energy efficiency, you are also going to reduce your emissions intensity, which is going to have environmental benefits as well.
You have been in this role for 15 years, that's correct? How has that changed in the last 15 years, your responsibilities, and perhaps a little bit about the way you view the role?
Right. In some respects, sustainability wasn't a career in 1987 when I got out of college. And in other respects, those same concepts were in play. They just weren't called sustainability. My very first job out of college was a production scheduler in our tissue business. I was putting together manufacturing schedules for Sparkle towels and Angel Soft toilet paper, which part of that job was trying to balance supply with demand, but it was also trying to minimize waste, which was a driver of cost. I was viewing how my activities were contributing to waste and contributing to loss. And so even though it wasn't a sustainability job, even though there weren't sustainability roles, a lot of this concept are very much the same. And so it was a learning that here now, almost 38 years later, I still carry with me.
Went into school and you wanted to be an engineer, is that right?
Yes, I started at high school. I applied to school, and luckily I applied to a school that had both an engineering program and a liberal arts program, and started first semester as an engineer. One of the things I learned very quickly is math is hard. And it wasn't as interesting as I thought it was. I had the opportunity to look at other majors that I could pursue, and ended up switching to economics. which was something that I enjoyed very much and kind of led to that first opportunity at GP as a production scheduler. I think I mentioned that was managing the supply and the demand, really trying to put into place some of the things I learned while at school.
What would you advise a young person who's thinking about a career like yours?
And I've had the opportunity to talk to lots of individuals who are interested in jobs in sustainability. The advice that I would give is to find ways to balance the efforts that are going to meet the needs of the company itself, its consumers, and doing it in a responsible way. Businesses are here to satisfy needs in society, which is going to require manufacturing processes. And so a good sustainability person in that environment is somebody who understands customers, who understands manufacturing, who understands operations, and helps the company to meet those needs as efficiently as possible. But at the end of the day, they're helping that company to provide those goods to those consumers that need them.
What I'm hearing a little bit of is that it can't be just sort of understanding in the abstract some of these issues, societal issues and others, understanding the way the business is run, the way the products are created, manufactured, distributed. That's essential, isn't it?
It is essential, and I think that sometimes people coming out of school, I'm going to be in sustainability, I'm going to save the world. You can do that, but you want to do that in a way that helps to drive the value that this company that you're working for is providing. Work for a company that creates those 2x4s which go into the construction of that home, or the manufacture of that fluff pulp which is used to make a baby diaper, but do it responsibly. At the end of the day, somebody is trying to build a house and somebody is trying to diaper a baby. You are working for a company that's providing that, and you're helping them to do that responsibly.
So we at Faro are trying to save the world bit by bit in the world of communications. What we see a lot of is in all areas of industries and issues is some level of misinformation and disinformation. I'm sure you have it in your world. What has it been like dealing with that the last few years?
It's in our particular industry, it's something that's very apparent. We are a forest products company, so our primary raw material are trees. And the timber industry has a bit of an optics problem, meaning that you can drive by a forest land every day for 30 years and you don't notice that timber growing. But then the day after the harvest takes place, you drive by and the difference is stark. You see that those trees are removed. So it's very easy to see the removal. It's very difficult to see the overall growth and realize that what we believe is actually demand for timber is creating the incentives to keep forests as forests and not the opposite, which people believe. If you go back 100 years here in the United States, there are essentially the same number of trees now in 2025 as there were in 1920. Well, the population of the United States has tripled and the GDP per capita has increased by a factor of 10. So if you think about all the homes that were built, all the babies that were diapered, all the school books that were written, all the goods that were shipped, all the meals that were served, all of which were using forest products without impacting the number of acres of timberland in the US, that is a great example of a responsible use of those resources. It was the demand for that timber which is causing the replanting of the trees. And the US is very different than some other countries in that the timberland is owned by individuals. There are millions of family landowners in this country who are managing 50, 80, 100 acres of timberland that's been in their family for generations. And their ability to market that timber is providing the economics that they need in order for them to keep that land in their family and to pay for their kids' education and their daughter's wedding.
Biggest misconception that people have about the forest and paper industry?
I would say that it is that the forest and paper industry is a driver of deforestation when I actually believe it's the opposite.
How do you change that?
I think it's marketing. It's important to show the societal benefits that forests provide, not only in the provisioning ecosystem services that they provide in terms of the value of the lumber and the pulp, but there are other ecosystem services that forests provide. It is important to clean our air and filter our water. It provides recreation. It provides cultural services to these families. All of these are extremely important and kind of part of our heritage as a company, as a country.
John, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you.